Hey YouTube, it is Faye, and welcome back to my channel if you arrived here from any one of my many O2O transmission fun videos. I'm a little shiny today. That's because it's very hot in Texas. It's like well over 100 degrees, so that is not my luminous glow, that is me being drenched in sweat. Anyways, today's video is all about axle flanges, how to swap them, how to find them, and how they all really differ from one another. Yeah, in the slightest, smallest way. So this really should be some fun. Let's go. So in case you need to swap out this flange, if you have a 90mm and want to go 100mm, here's how you do that. First thing, of course, is remove the seal, which I have already done. Then you're going to get your circlip pliers, and I think that the ones with the 90-degree angle are the easiest to use for this, just because of the angle. And this is just really hard to do, so if it takes you a million tries, that is a-okay. Okay, then we've got this little washer. Probably better if I use the magnetic side of my screwdriver for that. And see how it is concave, and the way that I'm removing it is with the more domed side facing up. I'm going to set that aside, and that just slides off like that, and that's it. Now, I'm usually one for if it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, this is a side that had some issues, so I'm just going to go ahead and pry the seal out and replace it. I'm going to pry against this piece right here just because it's made of a really hard material, and nothing like this surface doesn't, I don't know, this isn't like a mounting surface or a sealing surface, so this is okay to pry against. Once again though, this outer casing is made of aluminum, duh, so I'm just not gonna like jam this in and like scrape the sides. I'm gonna make sure that I only am prying up against the seal. And pop it out. And then of course I'm gonna compare it to my new seal. And it's identical. Black wood. Ball peen hammer. And of course, just to make sure that this goes on as straight as possible. Whoops. All right, well, that would. You would. Looks pretty good. Now I will install the new flange. Just for fun, let's just pretend that this is like some sweet 100mm flange and I'm going to upgrade everything in my axles instead of just that I broke it. Okay. Of course, here's our little washer, and we remember which way do we put that on. And then of course, look at our circlips. We see here is our old one. Here's our new one. See the difference? You can just tell in like the opening, like the size of like this one's been a little deformed. It also like isn't even round anymore. Can you see? So yeah, it's really important to replace these every time. I have not, and I've regretted it. Alrighty, and now for this guy. I'm just going to use the back side of my ball peen hammer. That looks good. Then with a somewhat clean finger, a little bit of trans sealant, just like on the other side. Not too much. And I think now I'm finally ready to put it back in. Okay, so that was how to swap them. Now, one note on that too, you probably noticed in that video that I wasn't fighting any spring. So some of you may, when you take apart your O2O transmission and you remove that flange, you may actually find that it's a lot more difficult to remove than you think. That's because on a lot of the new style 90mm flanges, you'll actually have a spring behind there. Apparently Volkswagen made that upgrade for some sort of noise and vibration complaint. Mine is clearly a 90mm new style, although we'll get to that in a second. Hold on a second, I've got a phone call. Sorry about that, you guys. It actually is still business hours for me, so gotta answer my phone calls and talk to my customers. Okay, so as I was saying, what I have is a 90mm new style flange. So there is a old and new style. They did upgrade them, like I was saying, but the reason why they upgraded them, I thought, was to put those springs behind them in order to like fix that concern. However, my 90mm new style flange off of my 83 GTI transmission did not have a spring behind it, which is like totally weird. And I think it's one of the only ones that doesn't have a spring behind it. Any one of you guys that has a 90mm old style flange, see the difference? You're not gonna have a spring behind there. You're also gonna use a different seal. So check my the information that I have in the description below, because your seals are going to be different. So when you are replacing your flanges, you want to make sure you buy the correct seal kit. The other thing is, on the 90mm new style flange, there's this taper here. And this is why you can actually swap the 90mm and This is why you can swap the 90mm and the 100mm flange, because they both can accept that spring. Now, if you have a 90mm new style flange that doesn't have a spring, you can swap on an 100mm flange and just not use a spring, and that's cool. If you do have the spring, then use the spring. The 90mm new style flange and the 100mm flange, as far as I know, although let me know if I'm wrong, are interchangeable, at least in my experience. And at least in the research that I've done too, the 90mm new style and 100mm are interchangeable. If you want to put a 100mm flange on a 90mm old style, the bore size is actually different. So I think there actually has to be some modifications made to the transmission itself, or the case, maybe even, in order to make that happen. I think that you're just better off using a regular flange. Also, speaking of better off, I learned recently, another thing I was going to talk about is how to find flanges. But you know what? You guys, I'm not an authority on that at all because it's been like a month and a half and I just barely got my transmission back in my car. Oh, my transmission's back in my car. Yay. I'll be able to drive it soon. Although the problem is I thought it was going to be so long, I actually like took apart the entire front suspension. More videos are coming. All about the Mark 1, so look forward to that. My car's still not on the road. Totally my fault. It could be right now. My transmission is back in. Everything's all hooked up. Anyways, finding them. If you have an old style 90mm flange, you guys, I think just keep it. I think it might be the easiest thing to do. If you have a 90mm new style flange and you break it, what I have learned nowadays is that the best thing to do is just upgrade to a 100mm flange. Why? Because there's a bunch of really great aftermarket companies that have made, I don't know, like great 100mm flange reproductions that are like even more beefier and stuff because they assume that you're gonna be smart and upgrade to the bigger, unlike me that gotta, yeah, I went through quite a lot to find my 90mm new style flange. Here's some of it. Hi there. Yeah, I'm looking for Volkswagen parts, specifically a transmission part. Yeah, flange. Yeah, axle flange. You know, the part that goes from the transmission to the axle, the part that the axle bolts to. Who? Oh, no, I haven't tried that yet. No, let me write that down. Hi there. Yeah, I'm looking for a transmission part. No, that's okay. Do you have any recommendations for me then? For a 90mm new style. Yeah, I already tried them. What? Okay. No, that's okay. Do you have any recommendations for me? What's his name? How do you spell that? No, that's okay. I'll write it out phonetically. That's good. Okay. Okay, 210. Yeah, 83 GTI. Yeah, I wish 10 years ago you had just told me. I would have taken all that stuff. No, that's okay. All right, thank you. Okay, bye. Yeah, no, it's discontinued. It's been discontinued for like 10 years. Yeah, I'm looking for the axle flange. Flange. Cup. You know, the part that the axle bolts to, goes between the axle and the transmission. Pretty much it bolts onto it. The axle bolts to it. It actually, you know, it's actually kind of a part of the transmission. Yeah. '83 GTI, but it actually, you know, a lot of different. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. No, that's not it. No. Never mind. But do you have any recommendations of who might have Volkswagen parts? No, that's okay. Okay, yeah. Alrighty. Okay, thanks.
Gonna try this place next. Okay, now I'm gonna try this place.
How do you know where all this stuff is?
Over the years, you just figure it out.
Whoa. Those are just the ones that I remembered to record for the sake of this video, but to be honest, I didn't even find one, and I bought 5 wrong ones off of Craigslist and eBay, and I legit almost bought a new transmission from Parts Place just because I was like about to give up. Granted, in like a last ditch effort to get my car back on the road, I wouldn't have actually bought a new transmission. I would have just bought 2 new 100mm flanges and then bought new axles. But for me, like, calculating that price, I could also just like get a new transmission with 90mm flanges for about the same price, and it's like, but then also 100mm flange, like, that's an upgrade, right? So like, if I was gonna recommend, what would I recommend for you to do as my viewer? I'd say, if you're gonna spend the money, why not like upgrade to something better, right? I mean, that's kind of what I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a toss up, but I think upgrading to 100mm, you actually get something like actually better out of it. That being said, if you've got a 90mm flange and you're like, which one do I have? Old style or new style? Yeah, so you can actually like take a look at the front face of them like this, but if you don't want to remove your axles, the easiest way to tell is whether or not you have a little green sleeve on the side of your transmission, like mine did. And if you don't remember what it looks like, let me just show you real quick, and then you'll know what style you have. So yeah, those are the 3 basic types: the old style 90mm, the new style 90mm, and then of course the 100mm, and then of course somewhere between like 83-ish, 82, 83, 84, in that range, you're gonna see some with springs, some without springs, and you know, some tapered, some non-tapered. Oh, and in case, so see, this is the 90mm new flange, and do you see how you've got this space where the seal is, then you've got the taper where the spring goes. The old style isn't tapered at all. It's just straight. So that's another way to tell, but that's, once again, once it's out of the vehicle. So let me show you how to tell 90mm new style on the vehicle.
Alrighty, so you just pop underneath your little car and whoop. See that green? That green means new style. So if you measure your flange across and it's 90mm and it's green like that, you have a 90mm new style flange.
So that's it. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, right? I hope so. Anyways, feel free to give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, if it was helpful. If you have like more feedback or more information or want to share your experience, and like leave me a comment below, and I'll totally check it out and try to respond as fast as I can, although sometimes I don't get to all of them, but I try. Yeah, I will see you in my next video, which probably is not going to be about the O2O transmission, because I think it's over now. We'll see, unless you want like a transmission installation video, but like that's kind of just the reverse of removal, right? Let me know below. I'm always open to, whatever, just let me know. All right, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!